Hi, everybody. My name is Leo Martin, and welcome back to another episode. I am met with Cody Barton, who is a very interesting man. We've been chatting for a couple minutes before we jumped on for the main podcast, and he runs a company called StartVirtual, which is a BPO specifically focused on virtual assistants and the real estate industry. So I thought it would be really cool to be able to bring Cody on to discuss specifically that type of vertical, because I know there are a whole bunch of people in the industry right now that actually are trying to do this, and Cody is one of the people that is doing it right. So Cody, thank you very much for jumping on.
Yeah, happy to be here. Excited to talk about it.
Yeah, no. So first question I've got for you is what do you guys do at StartVirtual? Like, do you guys have a singular location? Are you somewhat distributed? Are you hybrid? What does the breakdown look like?
Yeah, no, great question. So essentially, we have, in the Philippines is where we source all of our talent from. I have a business partner named Daryl that lives in the Philippines and is kind of our boots on the ground there. And we don't have a physical location there, mainly because of everything that happened with COVID. Is when we started in the beginning of 2020, and literally the month that they did the emergency order in the U.S. is when we started our company. And so,
Oh, wow.
we decided maybe it doesn't make sense to go get an office. Let's have, folks be able to work remote in the Philippines. And that's, how we were going to start building it. And then I guess our corporate headquarters is, here in Arizona, just in a suburb outside of Phoenix. And so we have a lot of our U.S.-based team members here locally in Arizona, and then we have a few remote on the East Coast as well. But a good chunk of our team is, on the U.S. side is in Arizona, and then outside of that, the team that serves a lot of the clients at StartVirtual are located in the Philippines, kind of scattered all over, not any one particular city more than the other, honestly.
No particular strategy to be able to say we're going to be Manila based or Cebu or any of those types of areas, or out in the north or the south. It's just you're hiring from anywhere in the Philippines.
Yeah, really anywhere in the Philippines. We've started, where Daryl, he was in Baguio City and he moved to Manila. And so, he's started building more of the leaders are, they've kind of started migrating more to the Manila, like some of the leaders of different departments in the Philippines, so they could be able to meet up more in person. But
Right.
a lot of the team is really scattered, and, we have an open opportunity anywhere, in the Philippines. And obviously is, and then others that source in the Philippines. It's just you have your different hurdles to overcome. A lot of them weather related and things like that. But
So you start your company how many
Mhm.
months before COVID?
The month of, like, literally we were working on establishing the organization, and I guess it might be helpful to know like why we even started the business in general. And my background, and I have another business partner. His name is Pace Morby. We have a lot of successful programs on the education side in the real estate industry, and
Mm-hmm.
we're practitioners of the business. And we do everything from fix and flipping. We buy and hold a lot of rentals from residential to multifamily, and as well as do a lot of Airbnb. And so we built our real estate business to really centered around virtual assistants. And for us, we had less than half a dozen team members in the US in our real estate company, but we had almost 20 team members in the Philippines helping, doing anything from lead generation to assisting with marketing, to assisting with transaction coordination, and CRM management, all of the back end things that have to be done in the business. And so we were doing a lot of volume, at that stage, and a lot of our friends would ask us like, "How are you guys doing so much? Like, you only have like 5, 6 people on your team. Like, I don't get it." And we're like, "No, we have almost 20 in the Philippines as
Mm-hmm.
well that are helping us do this." And so,
Right.
kind of out of a lot of people asking, "Hey, can you help us do the same thing? Like, we want to build, some a team that is able to help us do more, accomplish more." And so we started just helping some friends, and we got to a point where we're like, "Man, like, this probably is a good business. If it helps us in our business, we could probably help a lot of other people, do the similar thing. And so initially, that was at the end of 2019. March 2020 comes around. We weren't going to start the business until probably summertime, but as soon as that, the emergency order happened, we're like, oh my gosh, like maybe we should just start this business now because everyone is going remote and, people aren't going to office anymore. And this seems like what better time than now? And so that's what led us to, getting started at that stage. Is like it just forced us to do it faster, essentially.
That's so interesting and refreshing to hear, because to me, I would think the polar opposite. I would be terrified. It's March of 2020. The real estate industry is not at its best right now because everyone
No.
can't actually see homes,
Yeah.
and no one can go outside their houses. But let's actually start a BPO that services real estate companies.
Yep. Yeah.
Boom. Like that sounds you got some balls on you, man. That's pretty cool. So from there until now, like tell me that journey. Where are you at right now in terms of headcount approximately? Like what are you guys specializing in? Are you just continuing to specialize in real estate, or are you expanding out from that? I'd love to hear that too.
Yeah, definitely. So, starting off, it was really real estate because we knew the business. Like we knew how to do everything ourselves. Like we knew what the specific virtual assistants were going to do within anyone's company that came in on the real estate side. So it was easy. We just took our training that we did. We, put it into the company so that the virtual assistants went through the same training that ours went through, so we can basically show people, hey, this is exactly how we did it, so we're just copying the same success. And so starting off, it was only the real estate industry that we were serving. After about a year, I started looking at, I want to diversify the industries that we're serving, because, where there was kind of a weird time in the real estate industry going into summer of 2020, the market went crazy, after that as things started, opening up a little bit more. And so it really helped our business, but I wasn't naive enough to think that, it's all the real estate industry is always going to be amazing. And so after about a year, I had some contacts in the insurance industry, specifically life and health insurance, and that had some big, insurance agencies. And so I went to them and said, hey, if we worked with you and we, brought on a team member to basically put all of the training in place to source virtual assistants to serve your agents in your industry, would that be something that you're interested in? And, set up an affiliate deal there and, started growing the insurance line of our business. So, we're serving people in the real estate space, then insurance, and another line that just more out of just consistent demand of people asking was, they're like, can we get help with bookkeeping? And we're like, well, we don't do bookkeeping. And then, so we surveyed, figured a lot of people were asking for help with it. So we're like, well, let's go find someone that's an expert at bookkeeping, plug them in, and bring them into the business and have them see how to build it out, get some test clients, and see how we can fulfill on those clients. And that started growing. And fast forward now to mid 2023. We serve just a little over 100 agents in the insurance space. On the real estate side, we have a couple hundred clients, and then on the bookkeeping side, we have a little over 300 books that we're helping manage as a company. And so, we've been growing. We had some growing pains, in the mid of last year to the beginning of the year, because we kind of had some hockey stick growth. And as and any other business owner knows, when things grow really quickly, stuff breaks. And so we've had a lot of things to work through, and processes to improve, and new team leadership members to bring on. But that's kind of where we are today.
Could you go into some of the things that broke? Because that's actually
Yeah.
really, particularly for people that listen to this podcast, I think they'd be, at least for me, I'm very interested in you achieve that level of hockey stick growth, which for Time Doctor, we had exactly the same issue. We had about 5,000 leads coming into the business in February of 2020, and by March we were getting 3,500. And it was a complete change of everything that we understood with regards to growth and all of our greatest fantasies for the business came true almost all at the same time, right? But
Yeah.
then with that, we had a lot of growing pains. We ended up
Oh
hiring a
yeah.
lot of people that we just thought, well, we're not the smartest people in the room anywhere anymore, and we want to continue to be able to put really smart people into the company. And so we
Hmm.
hired a bunch of people that really didn't actually connect to our cultural DNA, and
Hmm.
we ended up having to change a lot of those people out because they just didn't
Mm,
connect to who we were as a
yeah.
company. And
Hmm.
that was probably one of the biggest regrets that I would have over the last 3 years, even though we've been experiencing just absolutely exponential growth inside of the business. So, how about on your side?
Yeah, so what one comment to that before I answer that is, I think one of the things that's great about, that experience that you went through is like, it's such a great learning experience to, improve like a process on like screening for culture, right? And
Mhm.
that's definitely areas that we've struggled with. And I would say for us, like we and I'll just share revenues for other businesses that kind of here, like our first, year in that COVID year, we went from, started in March, we ended up doing just about 800,000 in revenue that year. And then,
Wow.
2021, we did 4.2 million.
Wow.
And then 2022, we did just under 8 million. And so, we had a very fast growth over those couple years. And I would say some of the biggest things that happened, and we still are working on, some of these challenges, but one of the biggest things is we don't have anyone that's like super tech savvy within our organization. Like we're like that's not, I'm more like operations, finance, team building.
Mhm.
But I don't understand technology. And then our other partner, that Pace is sales marketing oriented.
Mhm.
And so when it came to the technology and getting systems to talk to each other and getting our CRM to work, like, we built our company in the wrong CRM. We were in a CRM that was referred to us, and we're like, okay, we've never built in a CRM, so we're in this. And we spent hundreds of thousands of dollars in 2021 through the beginning of 2022 building in the wrong CRM that wasn't able to do the things we needed it to. And so after all of that
Mhm.
money was spent, we're having to switch CRM. So as you can imagine, a lot of our data was just really poor as far as, actually being able to get accurate reporting on a lot of things because the CRM wasn't able to track the things we needed it to. And so
Mhm.
that caused a lot of issues in that regard as well. And I think one of the other challenges that we had was in, uh, you know, t- towards the end of 2021, going into 2022, we were growing so fast, it became challenging for us to have consistency with the training because we had to hire multiple trainers to onboard, more virtual assistant team members faster. And so that
Mhm.
caused, challenges there with some of the quality control that, we would normally, be able to execute on better. And so it caused some challenges there just because it was growing so fast. And so, grateful that, we've been able to grow fast. But, through that, we've had to take a step back where, really middle to end of last year was to today was we had to change our CRM. We were in fresh sales. We, transitioned and are still integrating everything that we want to be in there into HubSpot for our CRM to, run everything in that one place. And,
Mhm.
our affiliate tracking softwares, we've, continued, trying to work through to make those work the way we want them to. And then on the leadership side as well, where we were growing so fast, we had some team members that, similar, where we had some that were culture fits, but some just weren't technically sound enough to be able to do the job. And, I think one of the challenges that we all have as business owners is, someone that got you here isn't always the person that's going to be able to get you there. Someone that
Right.
was just a great, action taker in those beginning stages of the business, filling holes where needed, when as your organization matures more, which is where, this specific organization is, more so professionalizing, processes are being a lot more refined. You need more tactical team members that have the experience of, hey, how do I actually build out the SOPs behind the specific department, and how do we, track the data the right way, and how do we put, quality checks in place. So a lot of those things, we've had to, add new team members that had those skill sets. to be able to do it. And it's a lot to juggle. And myself and Pace, we have a few other companies outside of this one as well. So like I sit as the CEO of this one, but also in two other companies. So it's like the spread thinness becomes a challenge, but I wouldn't have it any other way. So
Well, I mean, that's amazing. I feel that how much time would you apply to Start Virtual in comparison to the other businesses that you run? What's the
so
ratio?
if I had to say on like a normal week to week basis, obviously sometimes depends because we'll be running events and things for the other businesses. But on a normal week, I would say if I work 70 hours a week on like a normal week, probably
Mhm.
25 of those hours probably go to Start Virtual. So a good chunk
Okay.
of time, but obviously I have to spread into those other ones as well.
Yeah, 70 hours sounds like a lot. It
Yeah,
was
no,
definitely one thing that is that may or may not catch up to you, dependent upon what type of personality you are.
yeah, we've been running for 5 years on, the partnership with me and Pace, and we've been pretty like running on high RPMs year after year after year, and I see a light
Okay.
at the end of the tunnel to kind of like reduce that down a little bit. And it's just all of the businesses have been seeing a lot of growth in all the areas, so it's just there's a lot of
Right.
different things that have to be taken care of. And we're getting on some more of those senior leadership members that I see that kind of reducing down to more of a 50, 60 hours a week, which works better. That's a better time fit for me. I'm an addict and kind of a workaholic, so that's
Hmm.
I love it. I love what I do, and it's super
Right.
fun for me. And I wouldn't want to do anything else. But I think having a little bit more free time would be it was good to be able to reflect as well. So
I sold a company when I was 26 or 27, and I remember I bought a very large, big screen flat TV, and I bought a
uh,
leather couch. And I sat on that couch for 2 weeks and I watched television. And then I ended up actually connecting with Rob, who's now my business partner,
yeah,
that I've operated with for the next 12 years. So generally, entrepreneurship is one of those things that's just in your blood. And
yes.
I don't think you're going to slow down anytime
Yeah, you
soon, even if
can't.
you
It's
want
hard
to.
to sit. It's hard to sit still. It's like I was on a trip to Iceland for I was there the last 2 weeks. So like I still still out and enjoying life too. But when I'm working, I'm like I'm in, right. So, but
Right.
it's one of those things where you just want to create. Like I think as entrepreneurs, we're just creators. We want to create things. We want to solve problems. We want to build things. We're builders. So
Hmm.
it's super fun. And I'm similar in that way of if I'm sitting around too long, I like last the second week of the trip when I was gone, I was starting to get antsy. I'm like I got to get back to it. Like I got this itch. You got that fire burning inside to go.
Right. And inside of the company, do you sit as the CEO or do you have another position?
So I sit at Start Virtual. I sit as the CEO of that organization, and
Okay.
my goal is within the next 18 months to be able to remove myself out of that. But
Hmm.
we have some things that we want to achieve before then, and continue like vision casting for the organization before we're able to get there. But that's the
Right.
eventual goal, is to be able to move off of that title on the org chart.
So, in terms of to achieve the level of growth that you've achieved, you must have a really tied in sales and marketing process. Could you let me know, like, what does that look like for you guys? How did you end up getting so many clients?
So what's interesting is our marketing. We've just started doing paid marketing about 90 days ago, 60 days ago, starting
Okay.
to test. We built the entire organization organic and through affiliate relationships. So just through our, like, one of our other companies is a real estate education company, and so one of the things, we show people how to utilize virtual assistants in their business, and so via going through that program, then they end up coming over to Start Virtual. So
Right.
that's really been one of the biggest catalysts for the growth. And then on the insurance side, we went and got an insurance influencer that had a big agency that he could show
Mm.
people how to utilize virtual assistants in their insurance business, and then we pay him an affiliate deal. And
Mm.
then bookkeeping, we're just cross-selling all of our current customers on the bookkeeping services. So that's kind of how we've done that. And we have we have a media company with a couple 100,000 people on an email list, and so we'll just do some light email promotions once a quarter, really, because we don't can't keep up with the amount of demand we get from that on bookkeeping
Right.
right now. But we're just starting the paid side of marketing. So it's a brand new venture for us on building through paid marketing, just
Right.
mainly because we want to be able to control it more. Because I know you guys offer affiliate programs as well, and the thing
Yes.
about affiliates is you can't control how much they do for your business, and so it's kind of just
Right.
like you hope you get random surges of new business from affiliates versus on the paid side being able to have you put in X amount of dollars, you get X amount of book calls, X amount of sales, and that means what on your lifetime value of a customer and how much you could spend, right? So that's something that's new in this business for us, and trying to just get more control of our growth so we can control how that goes instead of more sporadic growth.
One of the things that I'd like to jump back to is I've never heard influencer marketing before as an acquisition channel for a BPO. What's that process look like? Have you just worked with one person? Do you work with multiple people? Is there a process by which someone becomes an influencer and then ends up working with you? And also too, how successful is this funnel in comparison to the other funnels that you have?
So all of our growth has only came from that, and then through like putting into our courses, just how to utilize
Right.
virtual assistants. So up until 90 days ago, that was all we have done. So that's
Wow.
100% of how we've grown is through influencers and plugging in our own products. And so I would say through influencers, probably 75% of our growth, and then the other 25% would sit in
All right.
just from.
So
Oh,
let's
go ahead.
pause for a second. How do you get those? So tell me how that works. I have not touched this at all, and I think that that's not the stereotypical BPO. How did you end up getting your first influencer? Do you look them up? Are they on some type of database? Do you just follow people on Instagram and TikTok? Like, what's the process look like?
So, Pace and myself, we go to a lot of mastermind events. So, like, we'll go to a lot of events that we spend a lot of money to go to, and rub elbows with other just big, big company owners. People that own a variety of different type of real estate coaching programs. So like we'll essentially approach them and we identify, hey, you know, obviously for them it's a way for them to earn additional income because we pay them
Right.
recurring on every customer that they send, and in perpetuity of the customer. And so
Okay.
that's the offer to them. And the other part of the offer is, hey, why don't we do, me and whoever the owner is, why don't we do some trainings together? We'll do really good quality videos and trainings on how your customers, clients, agents that work under you, whatever, can utilize virtual assistants within your organization. And we'll set up the call to actions. We'll put all of that together, and then we'll just give it away to your students, to your clients, to your agents. And that's essentially how we've promoted to them. And we just go to the
Got it.
people that have the influence. Either like an insurance side, it's they have a big agency of hundreds or thousands of agents that watch them and look up to them, and so those are
Right.
the people that will go to. And same on the real estate side, people that have either coaching programs that they're running, or they have just big followings or big email lists, and we'll go to them. And we try to just make it as easy for them as possible. Like, hey, let's do all of it. Or if they want to be involved in, putting the trainings together, I'll work on them to do that. But that's how we'll meet them, is through, high level masterminds that we'll go to. And it's people that are paying 10 or 20 or 40 grand to come to an event are usually higher level business owners. And so through meeting those people, those are how we establish those relationships typically. And then obviously some of those work out and some of them don't turn into anything, and that's just part of it. But that's been the primary strategy. And I don't, like, literally, we didn't even know how to do anything else to grow the business up until the last couple of months, doing actual paid ads and different things. So it's like a brand new world to us.
Right. It's so interesting to be able to see how you're doing that, because that is definitely a rarity in comparison to the rest of the industry.
What do you see
What do
other
you
people
think?
doing? Like, what are they what when you get on and talk to
Oh,
somebody else on here,
well,
it's like,
yeah,
what are
no,
they typically doing?
it's quite interesting. So a lot of those companies are really doing paid advertising, SEO. They are going out to trade shows and bringing people in through trade shows. That would probably be the top three sources that I see
Hmm.
in the BPO industry right now. And essentially what you're doing is, it's kind of like a trade show, but it's much higher level. You're going to these masterminds where,
Hmm.
and it makes perfect sense. I was just at a conference about 3 weeks ago for the BPO industry, and there were 1,600 people there, and there were maybe 20 or 30 that were the true influencers in
Hmm.
that industry. And I realized, as you were saying that, I probably would have been much happier to have paid $20,000 to just go and hang out with those 20 people for the next 2 days,
Yep.
as
Yep.
opposed to hanging out with the 1,600 people for 2 days,
Yep.
right? So it makes perfect sense to be able to pay for that level of access, build those
Yeah.
types of connections, and then have those people work with you into the long term.
100%.
Um, in terms of, and I understand they get a recurring off of the actual rep that you work with the client.
Hmm.
What's the I'm assuming they're running through some type of an affiliate program, or is it simply
Hmm.
just a very simple attribution model where, is it purely an affiliate program, or is it a pay up front plus an affiliate back end?
Just a pure affiliate program where
Wow.
they refer the customers. We're tracking, it adds a cookie to any of the links that they're sending through, or some of them will make just a custom landing page for, and
Okay.
they'll send the traffic through, and everything gets attributed back to them. And so, and they get, they're reporting monthly, and they get paid out monthly on it. And so, we don't do, like, we've had a couple people, they're like, oh, pay me 20 grand up front and then I'll start promoting. And I'm like, nope, I'm okay. you know,
Right.
prove to me
Okay.
that
Well,
you can actually drive
especially if you're getting
business.
these other affiliate only offers that are coming in, which is pretty amazing. What do you think is the TAM, the total addressable market on that? Do you think that there's a ceiling for this type of channel? I mean, there obviously is, like anything else, but I mean, in comparison to you just starting paid advertising, which you started 60, 90 days ago, a lot of companies do paid advertising, and that space is, you're probably looking at a much lower ROI, or
Yeah.
return on ad spend, than
Yeah.
what you're doing with these affiliate partners, these influencer
Yeah.
partners. Do you feel like you're 10% penetrated into that particular channel, 50% penetrated, or do you feel like it's basically kind of finished? We know everyone in the industry, and they're feeding those leads back to us.
I feel like we're barely scratching the surface. Like, we've barely like touched it, because where we've been trying to fix so many of these other things in our business, like, it hasn't even been a big focus of ours over the last 6 to 8 months. It's been,
Okay.
how do we make our CRM, with the transition to HubSpot, function better? How do we get better data? How do we get better reporting? How do we shore up our processes so that we can go to the next level? Because this year we'll probably taper off a similar or slightly under the revenue we did last year, because we have a bunch of stuff that broke. It's like our
Right.
CRM didn't work for where we were going. Our a lot of the technology we were using, because we weren't tech people, didn't work in support for where we were going. So we're going through, rebuilding a lot of that. so we can go to the next level. And so, as part of that, we're trying to mature the different departments within the organization, so that we can have a better foundation to build and springboard off of. And so that's what we kind of are looking at, as we go into quarter 3 now and quarter 4. And I think quarter 4 is when we'll really start, addressing, targeting more affiliates as well. Because we want to make sure we're as dialed in as we can be, so that we provide the best experience to the clients, because we want to create raving fans. And, if we do that, they're going to go back and tell the affiliate that referred them about the experience that we created for them. And so that's the goal for us, is we want to make sure that they're they feel great about referring business to us. And that's what we really are focusing on, improving on the operational side of the company right now. And so so long story short of it is, we barely feel like we're scratching the surface, because there are so many different types of influencers that you can go to and work with. And we have a list of a multitude of other ones that have, people with large YouTube channels. Like, I have a guy, that has 600,000 YouTube subscribers, and he has a big real estate coaching program. And we're setting him up as an affiliate right now. We won't probably push too hard, as we're working on some of these things on the operational standpoint. We don't want to flood the business and then cause problems with his referrals. But, we're working on how we're going to implement that into his coaching program, and how we're going to do some email promotions and things like that, and make it really easy for him, where he doesn't have to do much, but just, plug it into his team and have them work with us to, plug that in. And, it makes these people look like rock stars too, when, we do a great job with their referrals, and then we do all the heavy lifting. Like, let's do a podcast, and then let's have our team be the ones that helps write the email copy to send out to your email list, and put the modules together for your course, so you don't have to do any of it. We'll literally do it for you. And so we just try to make it real easy for them as well. So that's there's a big opportunity. I think influencer marketing and is probably, especially when you look at return on investment, it's like, we have, again, like I said, like, people that are like, oh, pay me a fee to promote you. I'm like, why would I pay you a fee when you're not even going to guarantee a result of what you're going to produce? So we're just all production based. It's like, hey, yeah, we'll pay you, you 20 grand if you refer us the amount of customers that generates us the revenue of what our affiliate program is. So that's kind of
Absolutely.
Just how we look at it.
No, it's especially when you have all of these other people that are willing to promote without that money up front. It's really interesting. I got a couple quick questions, because we're rolling up towards somewhat the end of this. Let's first go into, and we might have actually already addressed it, but what counterintuitive advice would you give to other BPO founders to hit the kind of growth numbers that you've achieved in such a short amount of time?
So I would say, as we're talking about it, it's like having influencers get involved in what they're doing. I mean, people, they have a captive audience. There's a reason people, whether people have a positive or negative opinion about people like Kylie Jenner and Rihanna and these superstars that have massive audiences, massive brands, and you look at someone like a Kylie Jenner, creating this lip gloss company that made her a billionaire. Well, is she an actual expert at doing that? Probably not, but she just has such a big following that allows her to get the eyeballs to purchase the product. And so, our strategy, and I think the strategy that people can, put some time on is, looking at who has the eyeballs that we want, and then how do I get to them and bring them value in a way where, we have alignment to, be able to promote the services and, really do a great job for them and make them look like a superhero. Because, I'll go in and do a training for an influencer's audience and, really give them great insight on growing their business, scaling, delegating, do a Q&A, and really give them real value that allows their audience to feel served, so that when they come and, buy our services, they go back to that influencer and they're like, oh my gosh, Cody and the team over there was amazing. Now I have, X amount of couple different VAs on my team that are helping me in my organization. And thank you so much for bringing that value. And it's that wasn't hard for the, the person, the influencer to do. It's just plugging it in, and then we just go make them look awesome is our goal.
Right. No, that's very cool. Uh, what's the biggest mistake that you made in your business? And specifically, I think we'll stick to StartVirtual, even though you've
Yeah.
got quite a few.
Yeah. I would say biggest mistake is just, not building the leadership team the right way the first time, where we've had to go, backwards and, fix a lot of things. Like I would have been on a different CRM. Like that was a nightmare to switch. And it's like our data tracking was such a mess for so long, during that change. And
Right.
so it's just, having hired the people for where we were going versus where we were, I think was probably the biggest mistake because, everything rises and falls on leadership. And so, we should have focused sooner on hiring the people for where our growth was going to take us versus where we were just currently at in the organization. I would say, because that's, we probably could have resolved a lot of the operational and IT challenges that we have today earlier on if we just hired the right people, which hindsight's 2020. I didn't know, intentionally that we were making the mistake. So it's just looking back, we can connect the dots and be like, next time this is what I would do. So just having the people for where we want the organization to go versus where it is today, I'd say.
Right. Yeah. What's the biggest thing stopping you from getting to the next level in your business? You talked about how you're going to see a bit of a plateau this year due to you rebuilding your CRM and a bunch of the data issues. By the way, I think that you definitely need to be able to hire a CIO based off of what we've, the recurring theme that seems to be popping up. Do you think that is the biggest thing holding you back, is making that CIO hire, or do you think that it's something deeper than that?
I think it is. I mean, it's like the technology is where we've had the biggest challenge. Like we have experts on sales and marketing and, operations specifically around people and process and, around finance. Like those things are pretty dialed, but like the technology to connect all of it together has just been a pretty consistent issue. And, as we're talking through it, it's, maybe it's something that we look at as just getting someone, and I think it's one of the challenges is like I don't even know what I don't know on the technology standpoint to know if I should hire what type of person and what type of experience that they should have, because we've went through a few different tech type people with our websites and different things, and we constantly have issues, and I'm like I don't even know how to screen them properly because I don't have the technical skill set for that. And so that's something as I'm talking through it, I'm like, I just need to talk to a few people that are experts at it and get their input on what we should be looking for is the solution probably to that.
Yeah, I think you're so close to actually getting past this. It's not even that funny, because when you're talking about essentially doubling the business over every year for a few years, your machine is working beautifully. It's just one of the gears has popped out of the machine. You just need to be able to pop it back in.
Yeah, like the recurring conversations that, if I could wave a magic wand and fix would be, I don't want to hear about some Zap is breaking or the API issue or, this tech isn't talking to this other tech, or for some reason it didn't, connect the way that it should be connecting, or we got to change how we're what web platform we're hosting on because of tracking and affiliate thing. It's like that's probably the biggest pain point, I would say, just overall that we have as an organization, is just getting that dialed.
Right. No, it's very interesting. Next question I have for you here is, what do you think the BPO industry needs to do differently?
I would say because one of the things that we're working on, putting together as a product, and we're going to have it be more of like a high ticket offer for clients that we're, kind of working on the packaging right now of, is more education for the consumer or for the clients that they're serving. A lot of companies, ours included in this, but recognizing the need, that's why we're creating something for this, is being able to educate the clients that they're serving better to be more successful. Because one of the things that I see, not just at our company, but at a lot of companies, is, we could have the best trained virtual assistant ever, and a client brings them into the business that they're in. And if that client isn't great at delegating, isn't great at training and communication and running meetings, and they're not really great at process development or process management, they're going to have a hard time. If you bring on a great person but you don't give them a clear path of what success looks like for your organization, they're not going to be set up for success, in our opinion. And so for, I think, just companies in general within the space, and I know different companies serve different things. Some are just serving like Fortune 500 companies, and they go put a team of 50 people together to go serve, Wells Fargo or whatever, right? But where it's going more one-to-one to small business owners or biz dev opportunity type clients, really educating them more on how to be successful. And so that's what we're working on actively doing, because to tee them up to have the most possible opportunity to succeed with working with their virtual team member. So the education based side, I think, could be improved a lot, because we've shadow or I guess kind of secret shopped, multiple other companies that are, have similar offers, and no one really does a great job at that. And so that's something that we're really actively doing. And not that anyone, I guess, did something wrong per se, but it's like, how could we step it up and do more for the clients that we're serving and help them win more?
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right on that one. And I think actually for that one-to-one type of interaction, most BPOs actually don't pay attention to it because it is a relatively low margin sale.
Yeah.
But when
Yeah.
you think about where you guys are positioned, there is a huge market there that can
Hmm.
actually be taken up. And I'm talking probably there's 100,000 seats, 200,000 seats worth of
Hmm.
capacity that probably exists in that market. And no one really taps on that right now. So
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to see where you fit in the next couple of years. Go ahead.
Yeah, and that's where we want to take ourselves out of being a commodity, because it's like, a lot of companies, it's like people shop, like we've seen it just from the small amount of paid ads we started getting. The people coming in, they're like, "Oh, I'm shopping at X company. I'm checking you guys
Yeah.
out. I'm checking these other guys out." And it's like, we don't want to be Walmart or Target, we want to be we want to be the place where people come not because we're the cheapest, but because we set the client up for the best success, and we provide the education for them to not just get a great team member that's going to come and help them scale their organization, but be the place they come to because we're going to help them scale their business through some of the education, where it's like we educate and then install a virtual assistant into their business so they can scale. Because once they have that education, then they can keep coming back to us and getting more talent to help plug into what's already working for them.
Very cool. Yeah, that's so cool. I feel, as I said before, it'll be interesting to check in on you in like 3 to 4 years, and see if you're at 20,000 people.
Yeah.
Because I think if you execute on that, you can absolutely hit that target.
It's exciting to hear, because it's something that, we were tossing the idea around for a little bit of like, is this something that people really, really need? And, we've beta tested it now with 4 different companies where we just did it for free, because I'm like, I just want to see like how their results are from it, and, go through that. And, it's kind of this 4 to 6 week program of really working with the business owner more on a one-to-one basis, and kind of setting them up for success a lot more on their processes for how they're going to onboard and get their team member in, and help them out.
Right.
So it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, very cool. If people want to check out Start Virtual or get in contact with you, what's the best way to do it?
I mean, I would say, for checking out Start Virtual, going to startvirtual.com is probably, the best place to go for that. We don't have a lot of great online presence yet, because we haven't had to, because it was all influencer based. And it's like, well, they just go to a landing page and buy our stuff. But, that's something that we're still working on the social side. But for me personally, I mean, people can just, check me out on Instagram. You can just go to Cody Barton Official on Instagram. That's, where I'm a little bit more active. And, I respond to all the DMs that come in through there as well. So, and then I'm also on YouTube. People could just search Cody Barton on there. Not to be confused with the Cody Barton NFL player, that also has a YouTube channel, but the one on all the business stuff is me.
I have Liam Martin, WCBX, he's some type of newscaster somewhere, and he took my spot at the top of the SERPs 2 years
Yeah.
ago, and I've been trying to get back ever
Uh,
since. So I understand when someone else that's
yes.
famous takes your name. Thanks a lot, Cody, for all of your help. I think the influencer marketing part was so refreshing and interesting, and it'll be really interesting to see where you fit in the next 5 years because if you can get the mechanics fixed, there's no barrier to how fast you can grow.
Appreciate it. Yeah, no, I'm excited. There's a lot of the BPO industry is super exciting. I know, for a lot of people it's outside of our space or like that's kind of a boring business. You help businesses with their processes and, whatever, but it's super fun to me. So I'm excited to continue helping business owners over the next couple of years and appreciate the time.